After finishing with a 9-2 record last season, undefeated, by the way, in the 1A South, the St. David Tigers look to continue their winning ways this coming season. And with their season kicking off Friday, August 22nd, right here in St. David at home against regional rival Valley Union, we knew it would be a great time to stop by and speak with head coach Braden Davis. We want to hear his thoughts on the season, expectations when you come off an amazing season like that. All on this episode of Coach's Corner with Jeff Davenport, brought to you by the Morse Automotive Group, Sierra Vista, and Cochise County, backed by Morse. Coach, it's always great to see you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I feel like I always learn so much from you when we have these kind of discussions about football, philosophy, and family, kind of all in the same thing. St. David is just a perennially successful program. Coming off of last year, how do you change your strategies? What strategies do you have to implement when motivating the players for this coming season?
Well, first of all, thank you guys. It's really great that you support these little tiny schools. And it's awesome. It's awesome for the guys, awesome for the players. So back to your question is how do we? I mean, we just got to load right back up and get after it. Different set of players. We lost a lot of speed. We lost a lot of receivers. We retained some great running backs. We retained our quarterback as well. He'll be a sophomore and a year under his belt at the starting role. So we feel really good about the year. What was the second part of your question?
I'm talking about the ways to build and implement the strategies to motivate these players.
Yeah,
to have that when you have such a great season, do they expect that every single year,
or
is that
the expectations are always obviously high? We always want to play the last week of the season. We always want to be in the state championship game. That's what we're shooting for. That's not our overreaching program goal, but that's always part of the season goal, is to be in the state championship, battle for a state championship. And I think we have the guys that we can do that again this year. Also a goal, obviously, to win the South. It's not always easy.
No.
Sometimes Valley Union is much improved, and that's an interesting game.
To lead off.
They're a traditional rival, and we're starting the season with them. It's usually not. It's usually a little bit later, but that's fine. We don't have as big of a region this year. They've taken some teams out of the region. Ray and San Manuel are out. Moved them in. They kind of moved some teams around, so we were able to schedule
the realignment. Then
realignment, yeah. So we were able to schedule more freedom games, which is good. We're trying to get more, some tougher teams, so that when we, when we get to the playoffs, we're a little more battle tested and a little more ready for that. I think this year we probably did a better job through Tiger Camp with teaching leadership, helping our leaders become better leaders. We did more sports psychology stuff that we always do, but a little bit more of it. A lot of team building. I was very, very pleased coming out of Tiger Camp of how the things I basically told them. We got 2 rules this year: full effort and positivity. That's it. And you can roll everything into those 2. And we had extremely, there's going to be hiccups all the time, but I thought this Tiger Camp, coming out of this Tiger Camp, was the best ever. And this is my 9th year, I think, as a head coach, and I helped my brother as an assistant before that for several years. And I felt like this was probably the best Tiger Camp as far as those 2 things.
Now, Tiger Camp itself, what is that for people who don't know?
Tiger Camp is basically our first week of practice, our first four days of practice, and it's not 2 a days. It's not what we used to do back in the day. Right. We have to do the acclimation process that the AIA requires, and so we're practicing no more than 3 hours a day. But we have a walkthrough that we can do after that for about an hour. But we can do a lot of team building stuff. We can do a lot of classroom stuff. We can do a lot of things. And we did that. We did offense 101, defense 101, and then some little more depth. We kind of separated them out and got the freshmen, really watered it down for them so they could understand what we're trying to do. And a lot of culture building things, a lot of, you've probably seen the signs in our locker room. We play for St. David and return with honor, those kind of things, what they mean to us, what they mean to our program, to our community, and that sort of thing. So we did probably more of that than we have. And a little more than that we always do it, but a little more than that in the past. And it felt like it went just extremely well. I'm just very, very proud of the guys where they're at, where we're at this point. Now, are we ready to play for the playoffs? Not yet. We're a long ways away, but we're still in August. So,
but being able to have that mentality coming out, again, full effort and positivity. You're being very
Mhm.
positive about it. You're inhabiting those two factors that you said that you want the kids to have, the student athletes to have.
Yeah.
And so being able to lead in that way is something great. We
Yeah.
always joke about the fact that St. David never rebuilds; they just reload.
Well, we like to try to say that, and that's a reflection of the community, really.
Yeah.
And we're probably about middle of the pack as far as school size in the 1A, but we have more kids to choose from than Valley Union does currently.
Okay.
But Hayden doesn't have as many as we do, and they've been putting out some really solid teams lately. So it's not just about the population, but that does say a lot about our community, our support that we have from our families and fans. We got a lot of families that move away and then come back and then reproduce and bring us football players. And so that's nice.
No, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. And it's a nice place to live, close to Tucson.
Absolutely. No, it's one of the fun communities that we love coming here and being a part of this community here. You talked about the players that you lost this year.
Yeah.
What about the players coming in? I mean, what have you seen, obviously, through Tiger Camp, or maybe even as you watch some of these players come through the elementary school and middle school just to get here at this point? What areas are you excited to grow in over the course of this early part of the season?
Well, like I mentioned, we got both of our running backs back, Chase Pacheco and Cedar Haney, and they're fantastic. And we got two of them, and then we have Todd Pacheco, who we got to get him the ball somehow too, because he's a beast.
Yeah.
And he played line for. He started the line for us since he was a freshman. We have another Haney coming up, and we have Grant Haymore now, a sophomore. There's two more good running backs. So we really got a solid running game. Who's really shown us throughout Tiger Camp and through the summer, really stood out for us is a sophomore, Clark Wilson. He did fantastic in our 7s and our 5s, and mostly the 7-on-7s that we did with larger schools. With his speed and his hands, he's really stepped up. Now, unfortunately, he's got a mild injury, so he might not play in the scrimmage. But then also Logan Flake has stepped up, and they're kind of both battling for that wideout, that traditional X spot on the football team. And so that's been really nice to see, to have those guys step up who weren't starters last year.
Yeah. And when preparing for, again, 8-man football here, being able to work that in, using that system that you seem to have perfected over these many years that you've been here, what kind of work do you put in as a coach in the offseason to maybe retool a playbook or an offensive scheme? How do you go about that?
That's a great question. I don't think anybody's asked me that in a long time, but that's one of the fun things for me about being a coach. I'm really an offensive guy.
Yeah.
And defense, 8-man defense is really, really difficult. I don't know. I mean, it's like playing 3-on-3 full court basketball and have to try to put defense. And the numbers are really close. I've done the math. If the numbers are really close to being 3-on, that's if you imagine the spacing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of space. So defense is hard. So we always say a 20-point game in 8-man football is still pretty close.
Oh yeah.
You can eliminate that quick, because a missed tackle might be the difference of a loss or a touchdown.
Yeah.
Right. So like you say, so we attend coaching clinics, and like I mentioned before we started, when I was younger, never aspired to be a coach. But since I've become a coach, I try to every year feed, learn. Mm-hmm. And so we go to these coaching clinics. We start looking at it, probably, the week after our last week, in November, and to start trying to look at who we got coming back, who we got coming in as freshmen. I've got a pretty big playbook as offense. And so we look at who do we have? What best matches it? So with our two running backs, we're going to more of a two-back. We integrated more two-back sets into our packages. We still have our basic plays that we run out of multiple formations, but that kind of answer your question. Yeah. So we really, it's a process, and I start drawing up plays and, bouncing them off coaches, and coaches steal from other people. Right. And you go to these clinics, and I'm looking at 8 or 11-man stuff, and I'm thinking, can I 8-man this?
Yeah. How could it be adapted?
Can I 8-man this? Yeah. Can I do this? And, also, just contacts over the years. We had a coach, a really good assistant coach. We had there, Brett Bailey, a few years ago, as a math teacher. Now his dad he used to coach in Michigan. His dad's a Hall of Fame Michigan coach, and we still connect. And he'll send me, "Hey, I think you could 8-man this." And it's like, "Oh, that's a good play." So that kind of stuff through in networking and interaction to try to find. Ultimately, it's me. It comes down to me, right? I'm the one calling the plays, but I get a lot of help, and my son helps a lot too. He was a quarterback for us here a few years ago, and has done a little college coaching and college playing, but he helps us a lot because he sees stuff so quickly and can understand. He understands the game so well, better than me, smarter than me, and so having that input helps a lot as well.
Now, that's the offensive side. We talked about the defensive side. You know, I mean, a 20-point swing between the two teams in 8-man, it can turn on a dime. And,
True, yeah.
you know, with a tipped pass that gets intercepted or something like that, and you got green grass. Any new adjustments or things like that you're making toward the defensive side of the ball for this season?
Definitely, and Coach Ciccarella and I, Coach Ciccarella has taken over. He's our DC now, and he's, you know, we started talking November, December about, you know, hey, what about this? What about this defense? I think it might be better at stopping this kind of an offense. You know, we're always looking for. We want to win the state championship. How do we beat the best teams in the state? And what do they do well? And what can we do well? How can we change to adapt to that? We think we have something that is a little different, but kind of a throwback. It's very similar to stuff my dad used to run, which
all things do. That pendulum just comes back.
Right. We adapted it a little bit, we're anxious to see how it works. You know, it might be flat on our face and changing things after our scrimmage on Thursday. But I'm confident that with the guys that we have and the work that we've done throughout the summer, that it will be a pretty good defense. Hopefully it'll help us improve and get better. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. You know, you got to mix things up. You got to mix up the looks. Like you were a DB, right? So you got to mix up the coverages, even in 8-man.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not a lot of teams that throw exceptionally well in 8-man, but there are some. And so you have to be able to mix that, you know, hide coverages or hide what you're doing, hide blitzes. But also I'm guilty of overanalyzing, overthinking. You know, sometimes all you have to fool is a 16-year-old kid at times, and sometimes that's not too hard. Yeah.
Well, thinking about that, but the really athletic ones, like you see at St. David, sometimes their athletic ability can make up for the fact that you're trying to
they're
fool.
And we've done that before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's Coach's Corner with Jeff Davenport, hanging out here with Braden Davis, the head coach here at St. David High School, the football coach for so many years. Looking at offense schemes, defense schemes, all that in mind, looking at this season, the 2025 season, primary goal, obviously, it's the same every year, right? State championship. But in terms of both wins and player development, how do you meld those together to have a successful season?
Well, one thing I think it's really important to point out is that something that all of our coaching staff is on board with was thing one is we're building kids. We're building kids to be better people. And I can't just say young men because we have a girl on our team for her third season,
that's awesome.
Kate Patton, and she's awesome. So that's thing one. And sometimes, I don't know if I heard this from my dad or from some coach somewhere, but you know, how to judge a season is 10 years from now. Let's see how these kids turn out. That's thing one. Still, so we can't forget about that as the main program goal, is building relationships and building these kids up. But then we're building toward a state championship. So we have to be able to do whatever we can on the varsity level. Now, JV, I'm not really as concerned about I'm always going to try to win if they keep score, but it's more about player development. I want all these freshmen to get quality playing time, not just play a couple plays, but I'd rather them play a lot and us lose than in a JV game, and them get the experience and game rep, which you know is invaluable, than, you know, care about the score. So that's how we've tried to work to develop these younger guys, to giving them a lot, trying to get a lot of JV games. At this level, it's really hard because we can only play in so many total games. At the 1A, 2A level, it's the number of games total. So if we've got 9 scheduled JV or varsity games, they can only play in half of that, or half again of that, and they got to round it down. So half of 8, 4, so 9 plus 4, 13 total games. So if we have more than 4 JV games, I got to sit some guys.
Wow, I didn't even know that was a consideration.
Yeah, so that's kind of tricky. We always try to, so we try to, based on how many kids we have, okay, we got a bunch more, so let's schedule more JV games if we can, but then it's always tough because some teams don't know if they're going to have JV, like Valley Union. I don't know if they have a JV, they'll play us. They always do, but if they don't have enough for JV, they can't.
Yeah.
So that's always, that's a tough thing about this level, is trying to get everybody meaningful playing time at the lower levels. Yeah.
So beyond the wins and losses,
Did I answer the
kind of?
question?
Oh,
I think I
absolutely,
skipped around a
yeah,
little bit,
absolutely. I mean, looking at beyond wins and losses, how else can you measure success? As a coach.
I think like I was saying, just how do they be? What kind of kids do they become? I mean, these are great kids here. Don't get me wrong. They're not. They're overall, these are really good kids. We're trying to help them learn some leadership skills, learn how to do something they didn't think they could do. Work harder than they think they could work, and really get along and play together as a team, and try to get all of that stuff to make them more successful in life. Sports can be a fantastic way to help you in life. And also, as a psychologist, I do a lot of positive psychology, is teaching them how to be a little happier, right? Too,
Yeah.
and enjoy it and really love the game. And because that's what really ultimately, why do they play? It's because it's fun, and we want to keep the fun. We have to keep discipline. We have to keep things under control, but we have to understand that they want to play, and playing is fun.
Yeah. Right. And because these are student athletes,
right?
Classroom always comes first. What are your expectations of players in terms of academics, community involvement, overall conduct?
Glad you asked me. We have an AB. So my expectation, we have two rules, but a few expectations. My expectation grade-wise is they get A's and B's. If they don't have an A or a B, we make them go to either 0 hour with a teacher, coach, who helps them get that grade up, or if they can't come to 0 hour, they do the 7th hour, where we have all of our athletes in 7th hour right now. And instead of doing their weightlifting or their film study, they've got to go sit with this teacher or coach and bring up their algebra grade or whatever it is. We, of course, St. David, our eligibility is maybe a little tighter than some schools. So a D, you cannot participate if you have a D. We don't want to get close to a D.
Of course not.
So we keep them A's and B's. And so if we have a C, they can still play, but we're going to work to get that up. So that's going to get as playing, as a college player, that's going to get you to college faster, even as an athlete, than any of skills that you have, unless you're a freaky D1 player, right?
Right.
But I'm not taking, maybe
you were. No, I was not.
But yeah, so that's extremely important.
I was a D3 player, by the way.
It still
counts.
It still counts, yeah. So that's something that we've done on the football team to show, help the kids understand. We mean it. I mean, this is important. You're a student athlete. You're not a kid who plays football who goes to school sometimes. You're a student athlete.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we do.
Well, it's time to get the final two questions out of the way here, Coach. You kind of already answered this in a way, but we can touch on it again. At the end of the day, the student athlete's career on the football field, on the playing field, will come to an end. Yeah. But there are still certain tangible things that they can take away with them that you teach them on this field. Mm-hmm. And with all the psychology and that you're able to implement because of your background, I'm just curious if we can reiterate again, what are those tangible things that they can take with them that they will be able to use to be successful for the rest of their life, even after their playing days are over?
I think it varies for the player. Having done this long enough, I get kids coming back and telling me things. Hey, about a year ago, about this time, I had just randomly a former player texted me and said, "Hey, Coach, just to let you know, I got this job and it was really hard, and I didn't want to do it, and I thought, it's got great potential, and so I just remembered some of the football stuff that we did, and that just pushing us to work, we can do hard things, and just wanted to let you know, thank you." So that's one of those awesome paybacks. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn at all, but that's kind of the thing. So different players. So other players they've really liked the strategy stuff that they've learned through this, the working together, like as a captain with me and trying to think, hey, this is what we really need to game plan for this game in the film room and stuff. And they've really liked that. I think everybody takes away something else, but ultimately we want everybody to learn how to work together better, how to trust their teammate, trust that they're going to do their job and I do my job, and work together and show them that love. And so if you make a mistake, I'm not getting on you. I'm saying, hey, we got this, brother. We got it. Hey, I got your back here. We'll take care of this. We'll get it done. And that positivity is one thing I want them to take. And so two things, I guess, big is I can make full effort, good things happen. I stay positive, good things happen.
And those are things you can take with you.
And these relationships last. That's something that will always be there, right?
Isn't that something special? There's something special about sports where, like, just last week, a friend of mine from high school who we played football together, came back to Sierra Vista, and we were hanging out, and
that's cool.
And these are lifelong friendsrights that can literally be forged through time on a field.
Right.
And there's something really powerful about that.
And I think, and I know I'm completely biased, but football is something different because it requires so much interaction between players. Yeah. Basketball, maybe a little bit, there's only 5 of them.
True.
And baseball is a lot of, you see pros, they can switch teams in the playoffs and they jump right in, and they don't, you can't do that on a football team, really, right?
Right.
So I think it takes more working together, interacting. That relationship's got to be stronger in order for you to have a good team. And the best teams don't always win. But as I've been preaching these guys this year, love always wins. Love's going to win. So, win the state champions or not, love will win, right?
Yeah.
All you need is love. Like,
hey,
the Beatles had it right.
I've heard
right?
that. You should coin that term, trademark. Oh, wait, it's already gone. Well, this all comes down to our final question, Coach. This is the question that we ask all of our coaches on Coach's Corner, brought to you by the Ed Morse Automotive Group. The final question of the day is, head coach Braden Davis of the St. David Tigers, what is your all-time favorite sports movie?
Oh, well.
And if you got a couple, it's okay to think of a couple.
Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. That's the best one, I think.
Why is that?
It's real. And they don't win, but they learn a lot of lessons.
Spoiler. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. You've got to have seen it by now, right? They win the next year. And they talk about that, but that's not the story. The story, I won't go into the story, but that's my all-time favorite. What's yours? I'm curious.
It bounces back and forth. Always remember the Titans is always
that's
a good
great.
one.
Yeah, that's right up there.
And I'm kind of old school too. I like Hoosiers.
Hoosiers is awesome. Yeah.
There's something.
And we have, speaking of Remember the Titans, we have a call that is based on strong side, weak side from the Titans. Yeah. So we have a defensive call that so kids can, that's helping remember that. So
that's so great. Yeah. Well, again, we can't thank you enough for your time today, Coach. And
thank you so much.
Chatting with you, and we're so excited about everything that's in store for the St. David Tigers this year. Remember, they will be kicking off their season Friday, August 22nd. I know you got your scrimmage coming up.
Thursday against Lordsburg, right here on this field. Yeah.
Okay, and that'll get people warmed up. Will the green chili burritos be available during the scrimmage, or are they just for? Okay, all right.
That's a
this
great
is the most important question.
Maybe we got to stop by.
We got to have a
culinary,
talk with them over there, because the interesting part about St. David is the lineage of the green chili burrito. We should probably do a whole segment on that.
It's older than me. It's been here longer than I have.
Exactly. Yeah. It has been voted in the nation the number one high school concession stand. Yeah, I saw this. I read it. I read it on the internet. It had to be true. And so it's the number one concession food stand in the food stand item in the nation is right here in St. David, the green chili burritos that have a legacy all of their own that have been passed down through generations, literally plural, to us today, that you can have when you come out on Friday, August 22nd, as St. David kicks off their season against Valley Union. A 9-2 record last year, undefeated in the 1A South. What are they going to do this year? Let's go all the way. Let's take it all the way. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
With full effort and positivity, we know all those things will happen. And we hope that you have had a great time watching this interview with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world to talk to, Coach Davis here at St. David High School. Please do us a favor, share this video around, tag your friends. Maybe you're a Tiger alumni and you want to make sure that everybody sees this video to know about the great things and the quality programs that are going on here at St. David. Thanks for watching this episode of Coach's Corner with Jeff Davenport, brought to you by our good friends at the Ed Morse Automotive Group, Sierra Vista. St. David, all of Cochise County, is backed by Morse. Kicking off a little over a week from right now, Friday, August 22nd. Come hungry for those green chili burritos and go Tigers. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much, Coach. Always a pleasure.